It is a Friday. Welcome to the Uganda Catholic Television. I am Sunday Gloria Abwatch with Uctv News. Leaders from the born-again Pentecostal churches have voiced concerns over a national religious faith-based policy that the government intends to regulate and streamline the operations of churches in Uganda. Among others, the proposed policy carries guidelines for monitoring and ensuring accountability and imposes taxes on the incomes of worship centers. However, David Chiganda, president of the National Pastors Forum, argues that churches are non-profit entities, thus it is unnecessary to impose taxes on them.
First of all, we have to appreciate that this is called the National Religious and Faith-Based Organizations Policy. That means it has a national perspective.
Much as guidelines are important in a society, in our case, especially in the case of this policy, I'm still finding a difficult situation to see what the policy is trying to address, because whatever the policy is trying to address is already addressed in the existing laws.
I see many gaps, but first of all, the language in the document is vague. It seems to be targeting faith organization, but it is specifically coming for born-again churches. By constitution, religion and faith is not an organization, it's an individual. So I alone can be a religion, I can be a faith. So if you are legislating for faiths, it should be more specific. But what we are dealing with is a vague document trying to target, trying to seem that it is targeting many organizations. Then it boils down to targeting born-again churches. So first of all, I address the vagueness of the document itself. I think there is a reluctance to enforce the law, and it is giving birth to many other laws which shall inconvenience the local people and even our worshippers. There is also the fact of forming what they call a board. Really understanding that is they are trying to form a state religion, because once you form a board and the board is in charge of liturgy, order, conduct, how you worship, whether you're a cult or not a cult, whether you are an ordaining body, and that makes you a religion. These religions we have in Uganda were started by indigenous individual people. They don't have a common base, they don't have a common root, they cannot be governed by a common top leadership body.
They are not profit-making entities. They are not there to make money. Let me start with the tax you're talking about. Every Ugandan contributes in ways of paying tax. Every Uganda pays taxes. The people that are coming to our churches, mosques, and the other worship places are taxpayers. They have already paid the taxes at their places of work. When they come to church and they give tithe and offering and zakah, they are only contributing to their place of worship to continue to exist, because it needs maintenance. A mosque needs to be maintained, and that is the very money that is used even to help widows, the very money used to help orphans. You are all aware that most of the schools in this country and hospitals and what were built by churches.
When you read the draft policy of the current draft National Religious and Faith Organizations Policy, the mischief is not clear. In their problem statement, they are saying there are 5 core issues they are addressing. But when you read the policy, there is no justification to address those 5 issues by creating a unique policy that addresses them. Morality has been handled by the Penal Code Act. Corruption, there is a whole anti-corruption code that even addresses that. There are a plethora of laws that deal with corruption. When you talk about the issue of lack of accountability, there are various laws that guide us on accountability. And most importantly for us as faith leaders, we have a self-regulation mechanism that internally checks us on how to deal with issues of accountability. So when you look at there is no legitimate purpose of creating a policy, but also secondly, as a lawyer, I will tell you that the policy infringes on Article 7 of the Constitution, which is supposed to be focused on the non-creation of a state religion in Uganda.
The reason why the church right now has come out to fight is the infringement on our rights for worship that has awakened us as the youth in church to be active. Because if we do not take a stand to act on this act that the government is intending to act on, then we are doomed, because we may wake up the next day and there is no religion, or because the government in its end goal, it wants to make a state religion.
Faith leaders, this is a call to all faith leaders, Catholics, Anglicans, Muslims, Orthodox, to come out and speak out. Use the Namugongo, use the Matters Day celebrations of 3rd June to speak out on this assault to our beliefs, to our faith, to our religion, to our freedom.
Now, Parliament yesterday passed the budget for the next fiscal year, 2024-2025, which is estimated at 72.130 trillion, as opposed to the previously presented 52.736 trillion shillings budget.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move a motion that the Appropriations Bill 2024 be read for the second time. I beg to move.
Is the bill seconded? Appropriation bill of what you have just passed. Evans, you have not heard. The whole House has supported, including Afande Nekesa, Afande Kavuma, Sechi, by the whole House.
Right Honorable Speaker, the Appropriations Bill 2024 seeks to provide for authorization of public expenditure from the Consolidated Fund. Madam Speaker and honorable colleagues, the Appropriations Bill 2024 seeks to provide for the authorization of public expenditure from the Consolidated Fund of the sum of 30,314,512,100,000 shillings only to meet the expenditure for the year ending 30th June 2025 and to appropriate the surprise granted. I submit, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Chair, can you give us a brief report? Chair, summarize it.
Yes, Madam Speaker, a report of the committee on budget on the Appropriation Bill 2024. We looked at the requirements of the law, the object of the bill, the legal framework, and the committee observations are as follows. Right Honorable Speaker and members, Parliament on the 16th of May 2024 considered and approved the estimates of expenditure of government for the financial year 2024-25. Subsequently, in accordance with Rule 152.1 of the Rules of Procedure, the committee examined each vote together with its corresponding figure as indicated in the schedule to the bill and identified inconsistencies. The committee therefore recommends that the figures as allocated per vote in the schedule to the bill should be replaced with the figures per vote as supplied by Parliament and contained in the resolution of Parliament dated 16th May 2024 as attached. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, the committee recommends that the Appropriation Bill 2024 be passed into law subject to the proposed amendments.
Figure that the minister proposed before is different from what the chair has read. And ordinarily,
It's an amendment.
yes, it is an amendment, and he's the mover. at which stage probably would have considered in the first place. But he's...
And he's supposed to come and concede now.
yes.
I have not called him yet.
Yes, but at this stage, at this last minute, still conceding to an amendment.
There is an amendment in the clause to synchronize the totals that has been moved by the chair.
Chair, I agree with the amendment as proposed by the chair.
Attorney General.
I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the bill entitled the Appropriation Bill 2024 and passed it with amendments.
Motion for adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole House.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the report from the Committee of the Whole House be adopted.
I put a question that the report of the Committee of the Whole House be adopted by this House. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
From that, let's take a look at today in history. Thank you for watching UCTV News. We are going to take a break, and when we return, it will be time for the Rome Reports.
UCTV, good news for all.
Catch incredible stories of resilience, success.
You can manage dirty money
with a topping of inspiration.
Get interested in people, not interested in yourself.
Inspire, achieve, repeat.
You are watching UCTV, good news for all. For this and more, tune into Kasese Get Radio 100.5 in Western Region, located at the hill of the Diocese of Kasese. KGR brings you all Catholic programs and an advertising platform in all our radio shows like Good Morning Renzori, Chama Towoka, Ukute, the business show, Propeller, the Rico show and sports, Evaluation, Bahinga Bakuluka, Late Night Show, and many others. Our other services include Isuzu Tipa, a no car, public address system, live band, Omokekera, an audio recording studio, and outside live broadcast. For more information, call 0773 597 166 or visit our website www.kasesegatradio.com. Kasese Radio, Omusondoria, the voice of truth.
UCTV, good news for all.
And finally, from our Uganda Matters feature segment, we are going to bring you a story of Saint Bruno Serunkuma. Saint Bruno Serunkuma was a Muganda of the Sheep clan in Diga. His father was Namujulirwa, the county chief of Buddu, Pokino. Namujulirwa was a polygamist. Serunkuma's mother was Ndibaliza of the Monkey clan. He was born at Masaka at the site of Saza headquarters. Serunkuma was taken to King Mutesa's palace. We don't know when But we are sure that in 1876 he was at the palace with Byakwe Yamba and given the post of Chitanda outside the palace. He was one of the first pages Joseph Mukasa converted to the Catholic faith. He was violent, cruel, lived recklessly, was imprudent, and a drunkard. He strove manfully to master his temper and to control his passions. But even after baptism, Serunkuma had not yet fully mastered himself. At one occasion, King Mwanga gave him 2 beautiful girls as appreciation for his good work. Serunkuma took them home as his wives and soon made one of them pregnant. When his fellow Catholics, Charles Rwanga and Andrew Kagwa in particular, learnt of it, they worked hard to help him as a friend. He listened to their advice, called for Father Laudel, and made a sincere confession, so determined that Serunkuma left the wives and his property and went to one of the corners in the palace where he devoted himself to prayer, penance, teaching of religion, and works of mercy. This is where the Christian persecution met him. On his way to Namugongo, his brother Bossa gave him beer, but remembering the thirst of Christ on the cross, he refused it. He constantly, bravely encouraged others not to give up. He died on June 3rd, 1886. He is the patron of alcoholics, the violent, those with lust of flesh, and improper marriage. And with that wraps up the Friday edition of UCTV News. I'm Sunday Gloria. A nice weekend.